What's going on, everybody? Welcome to our awesome kick-ass podcast.
We still haven't named.
Unnamed, yeah.
We were thinking about the corded tire.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, let us know what
It's
you
kind
think
of a
of that.
kick-ass name.
I think we're officially announcing this shit right now.
The corded tire?
Quarter tire.
I like it. Let's go with it.
Yeah, I mean, we've done that to plenty of tires.
We are the Quarter Tire Podcast.
Yeah, welcome.
Fuck yeah, this is
I like
official.
how we just decide.
Bro, we gotta
that?
I've never
Power
corded a
engine?
tire.
No.
What if we've never corded a tire?
Oh man, bro. Fucking hanging.
Come on, man.
Yeah, all right.
You're gonna quarter tire.
All right,
If you haven't
that's my
quarter
goal.
tire, you will.
do
Matt's
that.
got a quarter tire.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are new.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna
Not for long.
Quarter tires has been like the story of my life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're gonna have to find like a clip of one like coming apart and kind of like flapping against your fender. Like, I think that's
I could do that for you on STI versus Evo Day coming up.
nice.
sick.
Those tires are about.
What Evo do we have?
I have an
You have an Evo
9
10,
MR
right?
lined up.
Evo 9 MR.
I got an Evo 10 guy who wants to come down from New York too.
I've got a good friend of mine has a 10 too. It's stock.
We should run it.
Yeah.
Is the Evo 9 stock?
It's modified. It'd be a good matchup with your car, like
Yeah.
340, somewhere around there. Wheel.
It's not like fully built or anything. It's just
No, I think it's
340
like
wheel.
cams, bolt-ons, and like a tune.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good match.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun to test some all-wheel drive stuff.
Hell yeah.
I can't wait to test it on the snow too. On the-
Rally
Oh,
day.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be fun at Lime Rock. They got that snow machine.
Yeah.
And so they do snow cross.
So it's all the fun without the bullshit salt,
Yeah.
right?
We do winter beaters. Winter beater.
I'm gonna fucking
down.
throw the Suburban, the StarCraft on there.
Dude, that silver car is my winter beater. Throw some snow tires on that. I'm gonna fucking house you guys.
I don't know. I'm pretty good
I'm not
in the
expecting
snow.
to win any races. I'm just gonna go hooligan that thing around.
I'm actually gonna lose miserably if it's like a question of speed in the snow. I don't think that thing's gonna be like.
You got some
fast like
weight
an
on the
STI.
back tires.
You need
Oh,
stud-
But
yeah,
in
well,
terms
he's
of
studded.
funnest,
There needs to
funnest
be a-
winter beater. I think there's
Yeah.
why I picked this car for a winter beater was I was kind of just like doing these like shitty winter beaters again and again, and I was like, I want something that's like a Group B rally car, like a Lancia Delta Integrale or Stratos. Stratos. Was the
Lancia
mid-engine.
Stratos.
That was
yeah.
the
mid-engine.
Yeah, so I wanted like a Lancia
Awesome car.
Stratos, like a budget Lancia Stratos that was reliable winter car.
Something you could actually
That's
enjoy
relatable.
through the winter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put some fog lights on it and shit, jack it up for the winter. I can get some air with it.
Damn.
Awesome.
You ever try like drifting with a front wheel drive car with snow tires though with the e-brake?
I have.
It's fun. It's fun. I've gotten pretty good at it.
Yeah.
I actually have oh, I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
go ahead. No.
I was gonna say, I actually kind of have a funny story. So I had a 96 2-liter Jetta. That was my daily for a while. And my e-brake cable was broken on that, and I had Bozak snow tires on it. And like one snowstorm, like I was on my way home, I'm like, I'm gonna asshole this thing in the snow. And I like was going through an intersection where I had an opportunity. It was like in downtown area. So I like came in like really hard trail braking, like got this thing in a big slip angle, right? But I fucking went slamming right into the like the snow gets all plowed up.
Yeah.
So like just picture like if this is
Yeah,
like
snowbank.
the snowbank, like I came through this like intersection like this, smashed into it, and then like the tail bounced out, and then I went up and over it and got stuck teetering. This is at like 3 a.m. on a work night because I was like a fucking maniac back then. A friend was back in town. I was visiting him, and I get out of the car and it's like almost like comically quiet because it's dead. It's like busy little ghetto like downtown section in this town like ghetto, and I hear somebody fucking yelling in the distance, and I was like, I'm gonna get shot. I'm like, this is bad, like my car was like fucking stuck, and I see this guy like approaching me like in the snowstorm, like he's coming. I'm like, fuck, this guy's gonna like come and like beat me up and like take my lunch money. But it was like this like crackhead dude, and he was like, you fucked up, man. And I was like, hey buddy, I was like, can you give me a hand? He's like, I don't want to help you. I'm like, come on, man, just like help me push this thing out. I'm like, I'll give you a couple bucks, like. He's like, you got smokes? And at the time, like I would smoke when I would party. No more. A long time ago, very long time ago. I was like, buddy, I got all the cigarettes you need. And fucking, so him and I started digging, dude. It was like 30 minutes of this shit, and we were soaking wet. Got the car out. As I was like finally able to back it out, the cop rolled up. And I thought he was gonna like bust my balls. He's like, what happened? And I was like, oh, I just lost control. It's because of the snow. And he's like, all right, you all right? And I'm like, yeah. So I gave that fucking crackhead like 12 cigarettes and like $20. I was like, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. And he was all happy. Sorry, I know it's a totally random, like, big digression, but you said front-wheel drive drifting in the snow, and I thought I would share that story. So.
Yep.
Yep. So winter
Topic.
beaters. I think it's gonna be fun to do some all-wheel drive testing. I think it's gonna be fun to do some winter beater testing.
Yeah.
Today we're gonna kind of talk about some analog versus digital kind of thing. It's been something that you and I have spoken about on numerous occasions.
Where cars are going nowadays.
Where they
I think,
are.
Yeah,
Where they
I
are.
think that the modern car is missing something, and I like some part of me just goes, oh, you're just one of those old guys that harkens back to the cars of your youth, and like that's what's going to be cool to you, and that's kind of lame, you know, like these guys that were super, you know, big about carburetors when fuel injection came out, and like, dude, some progress is good, but I think that like there's been a connection between the driver and the car that's been lost.
Yeah.
And it's strange to me, and driving the cars that we drive, you know, you're connected to the car, to the driving experience, to the steering, to the brakes, to the seat of your pants feel, and then you go drive a modern car, and that is just missing. You know, it's got electric power steering, and everything's super sound deadened, and
No manuals.
there's all this, there's no manual transmissions
dying.
left.
Yep.
There's so much stability and active yaw and all these like nannies, and you know, it's all just like compiles to just move you further and further away from the experience and just isolate you, and you know, it sucks.
Yeah.
And I think people don't realize how much it sucked because it's been such a slow boil to get to that point where there's been less and less and less connection. I think it's a real problem, and I don't know where we go from here. I don't know if we ever are going to get back to a car where you can buy a brand new car and feel like it's something raw.
I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Yeah, and I think you know, there's these cars are self-driving and all this stuff, and it's like,
Which is fine. Like, I'm okay with the innovation, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I think the electric and the low emissions and the hybrids and all that stuff, that's fine for daily use.
shouldn't be to
Yeah.
the exclusion of the other thing. Though.
But I think it's a shame that manufacturers aren't really still producing stuff for like the enthusiasts. A couple are.
Yeah, I was gonna say there are. What do you guys think about like the Toyota? What is it, the GT86 now?
Yep.
Yeah.
FRS, BRZ, GT86.
FRS, BRZ.
That-
And then there's the ND Miata.
Yep.
And some of the higher end ones like the GT350.
Yeah, I was just gonna say GT350, like we saw today, was like that strikes me like a pretty analog car.
GT350 is a fucking awesome car that they produce something like that
That thing
today.
sounds tits,
Yeah.
looks tits.
It's just 800 pounds too heavy, but it's an awesome. It's an awesome.
They
she looks
feel
like a
light
girl.
though. When you drive them, they feel light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of that's the tire compound
Yeah.
they put that makes up for the weight. But you see a trend though, like even like the ND, like the first iteration of it, 155 horsepower, fuel economy was a huge
Yeah.
factor in that, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
I mean, these cars are meant to be like. I think there's a trade-off. Like, if it's a car that's for enjoyment, like it should
Sacrifice some of
it
that
should
fuel
sacrifice
economy.
some of
Yeah.
that, you know.
Well,
Like,
no one wants to make.
but look at they
sacrifices.
bumped it now.
Yeah.
What's it? 181.
181.
Yeah,
And they
sorry.
raised the red line too.
7,500.
Yeah, like what happened? You know, I hate like I obviously I'm a big Mazda guy and I'm pretty loyal to the brand in a lot of ways, but like that pisses me off that they do that every time they release a new model. Like if you just wait a couple of years, they always come out with a much more kick-ass
Yeah.
model like a few
Yeah,
years
I'd be
later.
pretty pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the NA8 of the ND.
Yeah. Yeah, literally.
My friend bought one of the folding hardtop ones there or whatever, and then the new one comes out. And he's like, that sucks.
Yeah.
You know, he spent all his money on a brand new car, and then a year later, good one comes out. Like,
They
Yeah.
did the same thing with the NC. They like
Yeah,
did
the
something. They
facelift.
did something more forged with the motor. I think it was the rods that became forged, and they raised the red line by 500 RPM. They didn't claim a horsepower change, but there's definitely a bump in power. There definitely was. So it's just stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. I really wish that like I look at like Porsche, right? I think Porsche is one of the ones that's like actually like really monopolizing on that demand for like
Yep.
enthusiast cars,
The
right? You have
newest GT3.
Cayman GT4. They brought manual transmission back. But
Yeah.
see, like they're like master manipulators of the market in a way. Like when they came out with the 911R, those things are fucking selling for such stupid money. Like it was like an unobtainable car, and that's like a damn shame because that's a car that's built for the enthusiast, a car to really be enjoyed and stuff. But in a way, it's
Which
like
is supposed to be their company ethos.
Right.
Here, we finally built a car that we should have been building all along.
but it was coveted. They
And
limited
it's
it
so
and
limited
like.
edition that everybody
Yep.
clamors for them and then bids them up through the roof.
Although I think it was a good move on their part to now start offering the GT3 again with a manual. That was the right thing to do.
Yep.
And that was the right thing to do to also like bring that market, that high dollar market down. But again, I haven't followed the new GT3. I don't know what they're selling for with a manual, but
Yeah, loss of the manual transmission is a tremendous thing.
huge.
And what a lot of it was driven by was 0 to 60 times and quarter mile times. You know, that everybody's so focused on the data.
That's exactly what I was just
And
going to say.
you know, with a new car, everybody wants to go, oh, this goes 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds.
Or this does like under 7 minutes in the Nürburgring. Like
Yeah.
that's all they care about now. And
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
like, look at real world use. Like,
Yeah.
you're not doing 0 to 60. Like, 0 to 60 times are hard. And you have to beat the fuck out of the car to like
is
get
doing
those
0 to
times.
60.
Even if it has a mode that does it for you, it's
Yep.
beating the fuck out of itself.
Yeah,
Yep.
any PR car that like journalists test, those cars get the shit reamed out of them. And like 5,000 miles in, they feel like they got 150,000
Yep.
miles. They're bad.
Yep.
I'm saying like me personally, I'm not running those 0 to 60 times because I'm not going to sit there and hammer the fuck out of the car to get that performance out of it. Like I want real world. Like okay, this is what
difference does it make?
it
Really,
doesn't.
it's about the experience that you're having when you're in
Right.
these cars.
It's a dick wagging thing.
And-
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But it did.
Ryan, stop bragging your fucking dick around, all right?
I'm sorry.
You know, there should be some quantifiable measurement of enjoyment.
Yeah.
Be like
I
this is
agree.
a 10 on the enjoyment scale.
well, it doesn't seem like that matters anymore.
Well,
It's all what
people
your
forgot.
horsepower is and what your 0 to 60 times are. And
But see, here's the other thing, right? That's Porsche. Are you going out and buying a fucking brand new GT3? I'm certainly not. None of us are. Who's making like layman's terms cars that are like really
Like
enthusiasts?
you said, the FRS, BRZ, GT86.
Yep.
But
They had the specific mission statement to make that car about driving enjoyment, not horsepower figures, not grip. Right? They put the same tires as a fucking Prius on there.
because they wanted it to
They
be
wanted
enjoyable.
it to be,
They
be
Yeah,
able
to
to
slide around a
playful.
little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
exceed the grip at a safe speed and at a speed you could travel on the road. And I think that got some press when it happened.
Yeah.
But I think it was really cool that they did that and that they tried to start something.
But that car's been out for how long now?
There's no updates with it really, like
long
to speak
A
of.
long time.
That car should have a fucking V6 in it.
So two cars. We have two cars that are like for the average man that are like enthusiast cars, right? What else is a rear-wheel drive manual transmission
rear-wheel
engaging
drive.
sports car that
Yeah.
isn't a over 50 like
There's
let's
front-wheel
say
drive.
realistically like
there's front-wheel drive and
$35,000.
all-wheel
You can
drive,
still get a
yeah.
370Z, yeah?
370Z.
Yep.
They're probably
Yeah.
pretty cheap.
And they're manual. Yeah.
Yep. But but they're changing it. Aren't they killing the manual in that? I thought I heard.
It wouldn't be surprising.
Yeah, it
if
wouldn't
That thing's done. Like I mean,
Yeah.
the 370 was introduced in 2009.
It's long in the tooth for sure.
Almost
Isn't
10
that
years on
long?
that car now.
Yeah. But I bet they're not selling well because it's so long in the tooth. So I bet
Yep.
you can get one pretty cheap.
Oh yeah.
They got a diff in them.
Oh, you
They
gotta
got
get
some
you gotta
power.
get a
track pack
a
one,
track
right?
pack one, which I think like you can get one for like 28 now.
You want the Brembos and the raised wheels anyway.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So I think that's if you're a fan of the Nissan brand, I think that's probably a pretty good new car to buy if you're.
I like the
looking for-
370. It's a little fat.
Yeah.
You know, could be a little bit wider, but yeah,
Makes a
that's
good sound.
honestly. I always said the 370 is like the one modern day car that's like kind of like what an FD is, right? Like it's a coupe that's a little bit like Grand Touring / sports car, has a little bit of power. Because like the Miata and the FRS are like just like they're like momentum like Mickey Mouse cars. You know, like the 370Z like actually has a little bit of power where you can say okay, like it's a sports car. You know, what else is in that market space now? It's like
Camaro Mustang.
Camaro Mustang.
Yeah.
yeah, but those things are fat as fuck though.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But to
Doing
that
good on
price
track.
point,
But they're big.
Yeah, I think, but like I've ripped around a couple new Mustangs, and like there's a big muting factor through
yeah.
those
Yeah,
cars.
they're
Like
racing
that
cars.
weight and that size, that all comes with like and this is like comparing it to the more extreme, like all the cars that we tested recently with the Miata shootout and everything. Like it's just two completely different ends of the
yeah,
scale.
Lotus is out of the market in the United States.
I think they still do
Yeah.
Evora.
Yeah.
You can still buy new
You could buy a
Evoras.
brand new Evora.
When we were talking about them the other day, I thought I saw 2018 models.
I don't think so. I think they're done. I think they pulled it out of the U.S. market.
No, because they offer that 400 horsepower one here now.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Alpha's got the 4C, but that's a more expensive car. But at least it's raw.
Isn't Toyota coming out with a competitor for the Miata? Like a new type MR2?
There's been a lot of talk of that.
Talked about a new MR2.
Yeah.
Honda was supposed to release
They
it.
had that little thing.
Yeah, that's
The
the little green thing. I think I saw it was in the picture.
What's it called? It's like a key car, like sports car.
Is it that small?
Yeah, it's small.
Honda was supposed to make an S2000 successor, but
Yeah.
like that's been talked about for years also.
Yeah.
Look how long it took Toyota to come off the GT86, dude. I saw prototype shit for that thing like
I love that.
2004. Like old Sport Compact car magazines had that thing in it.
I mean, if it didn't have that Subaru motor, I would have bought one of those things.
Yeah,
I just can't
second
get
that.
past the Subaru motor thing. No offense, Subaru driver.
Sorry, Ryan. Go
Crying, I'm gonna tear up.
Go cry, Ryan. Ryan, cry.
If that thing,
Ryan, cry.
if that thing had like a 2.5 liter,
High revving four-cylinder.
Yeah,
Or V6, man, like a nice.
yeah, 2GR.
Put-
If it had 2GR in it, I'd buy one for sure.
Has it,
Yeah.
I bet
2GR.
someone has swapped it in there.
Put a VQ 370Z engine on. That'd be a fun car.
Yeah.
At that weight, save
I saw
almost
one
700
on
pounds.
LS swap a little while back. I was like, holy shit, that thing is nuts. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of cars you can buy nowadays that aren't pretty
I mean, you could still get.
big.
Yeah,
Subaru
Subaru. There's
and,
the
like-
all-wheel drive.
Yeah,
one.
if we go into the all-wheel drive realm.
There are definitely.
Golf
The
R.
STI hasn't changed
Yeah.
much since 2005. You know?
I mean, that market space is still alive for sure.
I know you guys aren't front-wheel drive fans, but there are a couple. Like the Civic Si is only offered in a manual, and I appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, that's actually the Civic Si has always been strictly
Yep.
manual.
Yep.
I think the GTI is a pretty potent little
Yeah,
hatch.
GTIs are.
I think it's a goddamn travesty that Honda killed the S2000. As far as I'm concerned, that was the last best car Honda made. I still think the S2000 is a phenomenal car. And,
I would love one.
It's a damn shame that like they don't produce anything like that. But that's why the prices are going up like rapidly. The clean ones.
I think that's why the prices of all the even NA Miatas, the prices of them now,
Yeah, yeah.
are ridiculous.
Yeah, you're not buying the car. You're buying the car plus like that experience. Like it's coming at a premium for sure.
I think people know that experience might not be coming back, and so the values on these raw sports cars they're going up because people are going, okay, well these are the last ones. If I'm going to get a good one, now's the time.
Yeah.
And so that's why NA Miatas and NV Miatas are kind of going up, and I think rightly so. I think that that may never be available again.
It's kind of sad, honestly, to like say like that's it. Like I mean, maybe we're just as the old fart in me talking at this point. Like, maybe like old timers when they said like the 70s, whatever, they had giant turds back then. But I don't see the car market ever really. I don't even get excited about new cars anymore.
Yeah.
I know I'm rambling my thoughts here, but yeah, I just the way the market has gone, like there hasn't been anything that's excited me since maybe a Gen 5 Viper. That's like,
Yeah,
I'd
even
say
the,
Viper is still a pretty fucking analog car. So good on them for maintaining that. I know it's not an affordable car, but you on a used market they're pretty affordable. But good on them for maintaining that analog, real natural driving experience.
although isn't it not in production anymore?
it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean up until
It did. Yeah.
good on them to maintain it as long as they were able to.
That's one thing I always admired about them. They were the last like heavy hitter sports car to like refuse putting traction control in it.
Yeah.
You could buy a 2010 Dodge Viper, 600 fucking wheel horsepower, or not wheel horsepower, 600 crank horsepower, and no traction control. And I love that.
Yeah.
Same thing with the S2000. I mean, S2000 did cave in 2006. They offered it. They had put traction control in it.
It's
but-
government mandated on all the new
Yeah.
stuff. It's got to have
Yeah.
stability control.
There's too many idiots out there.
Well, that's the other thing that's like really killing the cars.
There was
is-
just as many idiots before.
Yeah.
And it's just that like everything's got a fucking bubble wrap around it,
Yeah.
and nobody can experience adversity anymore. It's too fucking hard to shift your own transmission. It's too fucking hard to steer without power steering. It's too fucking hard to be involved. And everybody wants to be isolated and taken away from this experience so that they can't suffer.
I think the government regulations have really changed things for not the
Yeah,
better.
airbags.
Like you'll never
The
see pretty
A pillars
like,
being huge. Yeah.
I'm gonna throw the FD RX-7 out. Like that car was built in an era where you didn't have to conform to all these crash test safety ratings. So you got very low, pretty curvy bumpers. Like you'll never see that ever again.
Yeah.
Park an FD next to an FRS. Watch how high the ascent in the
Yeah.
FRS is. It's like up to your belly button. Where
You know
an
what
FD's like, at your thighs.
You know what I love is like those 80s BMW 6 Series that have this just like wafer thin A-pillar.
Yeah.
Oh,
just, like,
yeah.
almost
The
doesn't
visibility is
exist.
so
Like,
great.
dude, that must be like terrible
Oh,
to
dude,
roll over.
86 BMW M6 is such a toilet, but I fucking love the way
Yeah.
this car is like.
Yeah, they're so like
Shark nose and
Yep.
everything.
You look like a pornographer if you drive it, but like
Oh,
it's
who
just cool.
cares? It's a state car, baby.
Yeah, it's a cool car. But yeah, I love the visibility that not having this huge A-pillar provides. Gives you this nice panoramic driving experiences. Who cares? If somebody dies every once in a while, they're all gonna die anyway. You're all gonna die anyway.
Whoa. I'm taking this here. This is getting
Well,
morbid.
it's not a threat. It's just a fact of life. Everyone's gonna die. And so, like, you know, if some people have to be sacrificed for me to have some visibility, I think it's only fair.
We are very pro-life here. Just wanna throw
I'm
that out.
pro-choice.
Speak for yourself.
No, I'm saying like, no, not like the abortion thing. I'm just saying like we're all supportive of people living and not dying. That's all.
It's an inevitability.
Obviously.
If life's dangerous, the world's dangerous, and I think that, you know, you should be able to have the choice whether you have 12 airbags or not. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
that I do agree with. Well, you ride a motorcycle, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Motorcycle hasn't really changed as far as safety goes. You get hit on a motorcycle, whether it's a new one or one that's 20 years old, like you're gonna splatter and die just as much as the other one. So,
Probably a lot worse.
well, the new ones are just a lot faster. so-
Yeah.
well, these states you don't even need to wear a helmet.
yeah.
So, but I've got to have a 6-inch thick A-pillar.
You know what I think is funny too? Like my RX-8, like I put an airbagless steering wheel in there, and like all these people are, it's so dangerous. I can't believe you do that. I'm like, motherfucker, like my FD like that has one airbag in it, and like, you know what I mean?
It's
Like,
probably full of silverware.
and like don't ever like, yeah, don't ever fucking
fork
like,
sticking out of your
don't
eye
drive
when
a
you go
motorcycle on the road.
Well, you know, the problem with a lot of these new cars, I think, is that so much of the technology is going to be so obsolete in 10 years that I don't think that this generation is going to harken back and go, oh, I had one of those with that really blocky animation on the gauge cluster and like all that antiquated stuff. There's not going to be, and it's not going to be endearing that your iPod connectivity doesn't work. It's, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like the stuff that we look back on is cool because it's still valid.
It's timeless.
It's timeless. But whereas so much of this technology that these new cars are so dependent upon for their value, that stuff. You look at an old nav system. This shit is useless and it looks like Qbert.
Yeah.
It's fucking awful. And like, and it doesn't get you where you're going. And so like, you know, you see people, you know, taking the display and replacement with a thin film transistor of some sort of some new stuff and like trying to update it. But the fact of the matter is that the more and more dependent on that technology the cars are, the more severely obsolete they're going to be in pretty short order. And so I think there's a fundamental problem with the car industry right now where that technology's got pretty short lifespan before it's really obsolete, and those cars don't have much for endearing value anymore.
I think we moved into the direction of the forever cars are kind of gone. So like come in early 2000s, that was like when they really tried to make fucking cars to stand the test of time, and now it's about cost savings and how disposable can we make the cars. Like I don't think majority of these new vehicles, you're not supposed to buy that thing and keep it for more than like 5 years. I think they make them more and more disposable. And I'm talking about
cars.
like the mass production stuff. Maybe more the flagship stuff like the GT350 Mustang. That's kind of built maybe to stand up longer and to be like more of a car that's endeared. But we're not seeing that so much anymore. You can go into the 90s and just start spitting off cars, NSX, Supra, RX-7, 300ZX. Like those are cars they tried to like do something with, you know, and make them a little bit more timeless. And I think that's why a lot of them are going up tremendously in value is because they did that. You know, 30 years from now, nobody's gonna be like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna buy a fucking 2015 Volkswagen Jetta. Like, who's gonna give a shit about that? You know, that's a disposable car at this point.
Who wants an early Tesla? You know what I mean? When the new Tesla is so much better than the old Tesla, and all the connectivity is all gone and obsolete, and all the it's just like.
Well, it's like who wants an iPhone 3?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly where they're
becoming-
getting. They're just following
That's
like
what
that
the
that
whole.
electronics industry. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So it'll be interesting to see if that swings back around. I don't think it will though. Like I think with all the self-driving stuff.
There's been small attempts, but I don't.
Yeah.
It's the masses are moving to crossovers and SUVs.
But you know what though? In a way, it's kind of peaceful because for us car guys, right? It's like, okay, this is your options.
Mm-hmm.
So we know what's out there. It's not like, oh man, like I don't know if I should buy that because they may be coming out with something better.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's
Simplifies
saddening, right? Because I'm a diehard grassroots car guy like you guys, and it's just like, but that's it. We know what the greats are. This is your selection.
Yep.
You know?
Only problem is it's driving the prices up.
Oh yeah,
You know.
that is a huge problem.
So, but who knows? Maybe at some point nobody will know how to drive manual transmission, and it'll all fall through the floor, and it'll be back in our hands.
I think there's gonna come a point like that. We'll probably be pretty old though, like when that happens. I don't know if we'll be able to drive manual transmissions anymore.
My knees hurt.
I need a new hip.
Yeah.
You'll get a new hip engineered for you, and then you'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Just 3D
Oh
print
yeah,
one.
just
Yeah.
print me one and
Yeah.
then make it all, print me some ligaments and stuff to attach to it.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing that's happened in the automotive industry is there's been a tremendous horsepower war that's been made possible by all this dynamic stability management stuff and all active yaw. That like now a 700 horsepower car is something that, you know, your grandmother can drive,
Mm-hmm.
and literally,
Yeah.
and at the same time, its performance is staggering. You know, some of these modern cars are so fast, but they're so manageable. You know. So I think that's kind of a cool thing, that there's been a little bit of a resurgence of the horsepower wars. There's been a little bit of a, you know, it's a little bit of a pissing contest between the manufacturers to make something that's really kick-ass, and they're capable of doing that now and having it be pretty civilized, and
There's no widowmakers anymore.
yeah,
That's a
yeah,
thing of the
government
past.
mandated that away. Yeah,
Yeah.
so turn all your safety shit off. Hold that button
If you
down.
can.
Yeah, hold
If you
that
even
button
can,
down
turn it
until
all
the
off.
lights start flashing, and then go and learn how to drive with all that stuff not saving you. You know, when I'm instructing, the people that won't turn the safety stuff off are the majority.
Yeah.
You know, they go, "Oh no, I don't touch that button."
I have two cars with traction control, RX-8 and Z4M. And the first thing I do, I start it up, hold that button in.
Yeah,
Every time. It's like just muscle memory now.
yeah.
It's the first thing I do. I
my
can't drive with them on. It doesn't work with me.
Yeah. My Sport Cross, one of the mods I did to it is I took when I did the manual swap, I took the automatic transmission mode button and made it a button that's got, because you can do that pretty easily. It basically plugs in. You move like one or two wires around, and it makes it a memory traction on, traction off button. You just put it's a sport transmission shift mode, and it just memory traction off, and I never touched it again.
Yeah. I think a lot of cars, if you hold it in, I think something's wrong. Because when I drove an ND, it was the first thing I did. And like RX-8, you kind of have to hold it on for like a little while. Like you get two lights.
Yep.
You press it, like the stability or whatever it is, light comes on, and then you hold it, and then the second one comes on for like traction all the way off. I did that in an ND. The light came on as soon as I touched the button, but I held it, and then it like went off, and I couldn't get it to like change. I had to like shut the key off, and then like.
So okay.
So like a lot of cars, like don't even tolerate that.
I've been in some stuff where I started to get loose with it, and it freaked out and turned all the shit back on.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa, you're not supposed to actually drive this thing.
My vet did that to me once, my C5, and that was bad. I almost went off the road because that thing does braking stuff, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, stability management's pretty weird. I was driving speaking of GM, I was driving a new Camaro SS on track, and the stability management was fighting me so hard that it was hard to be, you couldn't be smooth.
Yeah.
Because it's just applying brake force to all sorts of different calipers and trying to yank you back in the line, so you'd countersteer to try and correct a slide, and it just didn't understand what you were trying to achieve and assumed that you were just a dumbass and then tried to bail you out, and then you just overcompensate.
If you're a guy who's used to driving and doing everything on your own, you can't drive with aids. Like it just doesn't really work. Maybe on like Ferrari stuff or Porsche stuff, like I think there probably is something that can really fine tune it out, but like a race mode or whatever, where like just allows enough slip.
Don't a lot of those things? Can't you like control like the angle of the yaw?
I think
In
Yeah,
some
the
settings,
cars.
yeah.
There's actually like a little.
Ferrari.
Yeah. That's a great shirt.
It's my favorite shirt.
don't even know what to say about that shirt.
Dude, this is the best fucking shirt. I think I found this thing for like $10 online. I'm like, oh my god, I need that. Because I wore this to a Cars and Coffee.
Oh, that must have been great.
But the sad thing was that like a lot of guys who own Ferraris and stuff like didn't even like bat an eye at it.
Nothing looked wrong. They
Didn't
just
look
like,
long to them.
Oh.
I was like,
Sweet, another Ferrari owner.
Yeah, people aren't paying attention.
oh
sure.
man.
That's why we need stability management. Some of this stuff's pretty interesting. The active yaw is cool. You know, ability to send power to different wheels and help the cornering attitude and stuff. It's interesting, but I don't want it to be the only choice. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of these cars that you'll drive now on track, there's so much brake force just distribution to try and control where the power is going. And there's electronically controlled diffs that are basically an open diff where it can just apply braking force.
Yep.
And so the problem is that you're on track with the thing and it's doing the things that you would want it to do if it had a mechanical diff, but the brakes are on even when you're accelerating, so you never cool down. So the brakes are on when you're decelerating, and then the brakes are on when you're accelerating, and so the pads just overheat, and you end up with pouring smoke out of your wheel wells, and that delightful smell of burning brake pad.
My Tundra did that.
Yeah.
It had that shit that like it made it seem like it had a
Yeah, like
limited
an
slip, but
EGIS,
it's not. Yeah.
I think Fords will do that a lot.
Everything
It
does
was
it now.
yeah.
it was funny like in the snow, like drift really good like in one direction, but the other direction it would just go open like one wheel fire. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Torsen or clutch type is so much better.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
The ISF had the early ones had an electronic diff, and then they went to a mechanical diff, and the later ones are much more.
Yeah,
much
because
more
that
sought after.
electronic stuff sucks.
Bullshit. So some of it's neat. I mean, it's if you can like this Ferrari's got that side slip control. Deliberately gives you a little bit of yaw.
So you're talking about right?
Yeah.
You could pick how much angle you want out
Yeah,
of it.
McLaren, you can actually there's a car.
That's what I
there's
was
an
thinking
animation
of.
of the car
Yeah.
on the road, and you can actually control how much yaw you want the car.
I like
to
that
have.
kind of technology. I mean, obviously I'll never own anything
But
like that.
having
but
driven that, I'd rather have a mechanical diff.
Yeah.
It was my complaint about that car was I
Yeah.
wished it had a diff, and the owner's complaint about that car was he wished it had a diff. So what are you doing, McLaren?
See, I wonder like what happens like if you say I want this much angle and like you like I don't know how to drive with that. Like to me, like if I go more angle than I want, like I just correct more, like back off throttle more to get the car
it's going to
back
back off
online.
throttle for you.
Well, their system's much more refined than that Camaro
Like,
thing
so,
I was
like-
talking about. It's very, very like well judged in terms of how it draws you back in with brake torque and.
So if you say I want like this much angle
Yep.
on the thing or whatever, right? Do you just like floor it and with some lock and it does that?
Yeah.
And it just controls throttle for
What
you?
if
Won't let you
it's like
sleep.
the steering wheel will fight you? Like
No, it's not the steering.
Yeah.
It's not steering for you. It's putting on the brakes on different. So like picture you've got differential action going through the corner, and so the inside tire is going to turn slower than the outside tire because they're traveling different paths, right? This is distance traveled around the outside of the corner is longer, and so if you want to increase yaw, you just slow the inside tire. Like picture if you were walking and somebody stopped one of your feet and not the other,
Yeah.
it would create yaw. And so it's able to do that very, very accurately with all four brakes. And so if it's getting too much yaw, it just applies braking force to the outside wheels to pull you back into line. And if it's understeering, it applies braking force to the inside wheels to create more yaw. And so that's what these drift modes and all these things are based upon. Ones that can't apply power to the different wheels. That's all active yaw. Stability management is the first thing we were talking about, where it can only apply brakes. Active yaw adds ability to apply power to different wheels to affect yaw. And they're amazing systems, but there's something lost. It's not analog. That you can feel that it's doing stuff for you, and you're taken out of the equation to some degree.
Well, it's like the same approach for like manual transmissions, right? It's clear that like a double clutch gearbox can
Faster.
shift much faster, and they make up monumental time. But it's like you're just taking away something, that component, right? Like that experience, and you do the same thing with all this active yaw bullshit and all this other stuff. Like you're just robbing the driver of that pure experience a little bit.
you care
And
more about the number. Than,
again, this could just be the old fart in me talking, but like I don't know. That stuff doesn't really appeal to me. Like it's cool. Like it's cool from a technology standpoint, but
Yeah.
it doesn't do anything for me.
and at some point it's going to be superseded by something better, and then it won't be as cool anymore, and people won't go, oh yeah, I had one of those and it was amazing.
I think it's
"Oh,
going to
there's a
be
new
like, oh, you still drive your car to work? You're a fucking loser.
one." Yeah, so the self-driving car thing is going to be interesting because as long as they stay the fuck out of my way, I'm cool. It's just less dumbasses doing stupid shit and trying to collect
It'd be
me.
kind of funny if like majority of the cars were just like self-driving that
Yeah,
like
we're
did,
just like-
did the speed limit and
like
you could
drifting
just
in
like,
Just like crank it
just
through
like
them.
fly by them.
Yeah, I want self-driving cop cars.
Cop cars.
Just see me go flying by and go,
Oh,
can't do anything.
like don't pursue.
yeah. Yeah, as long as everybody, I'm
If
fine.
if they're self-driving and it's like computer pursuing you, they could probably get
Oh,
that
yeah,
down
that'd be a
pretty
bummer.
good to like catch up
Or
to
they're
you.
just gonna document it. They'll have a camera
Yeah,
on the
well,
car
yeah,
and
that-
get
yeah.
your license plate. And
I was being kind of facetious.
Yeah, oh,
I
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
saying it really. But yeah, as long as they hold their line and stay out of my way, it's cool. But my concern is that the insurance companies are going to go, all right, it's
Oh,
so
yeah.
much cheaper to insure people with self-driving cars that what I think the thing that'll be the demise of the people that are the people that
the
drive their
rates
own
up.
cars is that the insurance companies are just going to jack the rates on you driving your own car to the point where you don't have any choice.
I saw something about self-driving cars, and if we get to a point where that becomes like a normal in society, like no one's gonna own cars. Like they're just gonna be self-driving. Like it's gonna be like you call a car,
Oh, taxi.
and it's just gonna
Yeah,
it's gonna come pick you up and bring you to work, and
Yeah.
and that's it. You won't even own a car. You'll just pay for a service,
Yeah.
and that's probably where that will go if they all become self-driving.
I think that's going to still take a long time to really
Yeah, oh, yeah.
integrate, because there's like the moral, right? What is it? The moral conundrum that they have. It's like, do you
The
hit one person and
streetcar
kill it, or do you
paradox.
swerve it off the road and like kill a whole
Yeah.
group of people? Like, how does it make that decision, right? Like, so.
There's a word for that. It's like the streetcar paradox or whatever. There's a
Yeah, it's late, so like I'm.
yeah. It's like it is 2:00.
Oh my God, it's 3 o'clock.
It's 3 o'clock in the morning.
So
It's
this
3
is- this is
3
how
o'clock in the morning.
This is how dedicated.
That guy's gonna comment
to the,
again. Don't you guys have homes?
Oh,
Go home.
man.
I love that comment.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, it's
We sleep here actually. We all just like turn the lights off and
just power down.
listen to each other breathing.
Like
and
the
fall
Stig, you just
asleep.
unplug us and just.
Oh man. Yeah, but like I was saying moral conundrum, but like that's the
That's what it is. It
You gotta,
just,
have
it's
the, you
too-
gotta have the human element somewhere.
right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the AI can't decide if there's two scenarios and they're both not acceptable. Then it can't
There's
choose
Shannon
between.
again.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
Shannon.
that's the thought process.
Yeah.
Well, this gives us a lot to think about.
It does.
A lot to get depressed about.
Yeah. Well, this is a pretty morbid fucking podcast. So let's end this one on a positive note. Pick your favorite mechanical car. Quick and easy, very positive. Go ahead.
That's hard to do without
Yeah, if you haven't
Driving.
driven it,
having
yeah.
not driven.
You'll just have to let me drive the FD because that's on my list.
Well, that's my choice.
True.
I'm so easy. FD, RX-7, love the thing.
I loved your NB in terms of raw feel. That thing was just, it was awesome.
I would love to drive a Singer 911.
Yeah.
If we're talking like any
That's way up
car,
there.
that's like,
Singer makes some nice stuff.
yeah,
Thank God for companies like that.
yeah, seriously.
I'm gonna go either BAC mono or Ariel Atom 3S.
I'd love to drive one of those too.
Yeah.
I like those BAC miles. Those
The
are
only
cool
thing is you
cars.
can't scare the shit out of your friends, and that's kind of like a big part of having a car.
The fact that you can't even drive them legally here in the United States. That's
You gotta do an exoset. You gotta drive my buddy's exoset. That thing's a hoot.
I think it doesn't get much more analog than an Ariel Atom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caterham.
Caterham, yeah, those are fun
Yeah.
too.
Nothing like some tubes and some used roller coaster seats.
Yeah, I think that super raw
Yeah.
four-wheeled motorcycle. That's even the motorcycles have active yaw now.
Yeah.
New R1's got it. You can
Anti-lift too, right? You could just floor it.
Yeah,
and
it
won't
doesn't.
lift the-
You can have it not do wheelies, but you can have it have a certain amount of yaw that it won't allow it to have more yaw than that. It won't light high.
They're
side,
they're
low side.
allowing yaw in motorcycles, but we all have these like 6-inch A pillars in
Yeah.
cars. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. A-pillars are thick as fuck.
Yeah.
though.
Can't see out the back.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. Visibility is
detail is
definitely hard.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, Gen 2 Viper is my favorite car I've ever driven. Lots of power, it's raw.
Yeah.
It has nuts straight from friggin' 2,000 RPMs and up.
Yeah. Big
One-
torque.
Yep, big torque.
I still want to own a Viper. I don't know which gen, but I still would like to own a Viper.
I'll take ACR Extreme. If the question is which Viper, that new ACR Extreme is business.
I feel like.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say that for Vipers, I feel like the Gen 2 coupe with blue with white stripes is just so striking.
Dude,
Yeah.
I still think the
Yeah.
Gen 2 look like pulls at my heartstrings the most.
Yeah.
I love the way that car looks, even with the goofy front end. Everything else, like from the 3/4 view from the rear going to the front, I fucking love the view of that car.
It's just a big NB Miata.
Yeah,
it is. That's probably why I like it so much. But from like a driving standpoint and what I've experienced, like I think Gen 5 would be the more satisfying car for me to own. It has a lot of the look of the Gen 2 back, which I like. It's not as pretty, I don't think, but Gen 5 for me would probably be the way to go.
I'm sure I'd love it too if I drove it. Gen
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
You drove a Gen 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At Lime Rock. Like you said, you could pick your angle
Yeah.
and just
Yeah,
hoon it. And that's literally the only reason why I don't know if I'd get a Gen 2 because I just don't know if I can hoon it the way I want to drive it. They don't like big slip angles.
Mm.
And I don't know if I want to risk a $45,000 car payment to find out if I can set it up or not to drive the way I want.
Yeah, Widowmaker cars.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's interesting the cars that throughout history have been like Widowmaker cars. You know, like everybody like a 930 turbo was the most dangerous car ever. Those things are slow as fuck.
I know.
like everybody acted like those cars were just like this like car that was just out to get you.
Yeah.
And like, dude, what are they? 250 horsepower or something?
No, I thought they were like 300 and something for the turbo ones.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought they
Whatever.
were 300 around there. I don't know.
They're not fast.
I know I'm not a big Volkswagen Beetle enthusiast, so I don't
Yeah.
know all the numbers.
Yeah, I just it's
Okay, Jeremy.
It's a car where like if you drive one now compared to a modern car, that is not a fast car,
No.
and it's a car that like, you know, maybe people that can't drive worth a shit will crash them pretty easily, but like,
People racked up FDs pretty good back
Yeah.
in the day, and like that by modern standards is not really a fast car, stock
Yeah.
FD if there is such a thing anymore.
yeah, it's interesting to see the cars that people thought were so terrifyingly unpredictable, AP1s and like MR2s.
Yeah, the SW20.
Oh my God, it's gonna swap
Yeah.
ends on you.
Yeah.
It's just gonna like snap oversteer.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you just can't drive.
Yeah.
Call it.
That was cool. Like that was I like those cars.
I like that people
And
bought
I've been
them
bitten.
for that.
I've been bitten by that. I shared my AP1 story. Like
Yeah,
I duffed that fucking thing. You
Yeah.
know, I learned from it.
yeah.
Taught me to be a better driver.
Yeah. Win an attitude, right?
Yeah. You
Learn-
won't give
learn
up
from
or
your
give
mistake,
up, like
yeah.
sink or swim. Like when you gotta learn.
Yeah, it's just kind of interesting to see the people kind of like blame the car. You
Yeah.
know?
Well, I mean, it's
Well, it's always somebody else's fault.
hard to admit. It's hard
Yeah.
to admit your faults, right?
It sucks to
That's
suck.
human nature.
What's another Widowmaker car that we didn't think of?
You
Cobra,
With the Viper, was it?
AC Cobra.
AC Cobra.
said- yeah. Oh, those things.
Those things are a fucking death
dangerous.
trap.
Yeah, that's a dangerous.
That's one of my
ass
favorite
car.
cars. Yeah.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Yeah, they're wicked cool.
I would
Yeah,
love to
And,
build
like,
a kit
from,
car.
from like a crash safety rating
Oh
thing.
my god. Yeah, everything about that car is dangerous.
It feels like it's made out of razor blades inside. It's like, oh no, you didn't even like deburr that edge, huh?
I talked to someone who had like a 500 horsepower Cobra. He said he was like spinning the tires, getting on the highway once, and it got traction, smashed his head into the roll bar.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
other
Oh
thing.
man.
You see those backdraft racing cars? They're like 600 horsepower, blown Coyote power, no headrest.
Dude, those things are sick.
like,
No headrest.
Why don't you have a headrest?
These little bucket seats that.
Well, it's because it's so fast, you can't really get rear-ended in it. And like, Snap your neck back.
That's what they were
The
thinking. Yeah.
acceleration does that for. They're awesome. I love.
Yeah,
I love
they're
them. Like
cool,
they're
yeah.
beautiful.
You can set them
They're-
up to handle well
They're
too.
awesome.
I love
Yeah,
that
they're
like
awesome.
retro modern approach that they
Yep.
take to
Yeah,
them.
they're work of art. But god damn, put a headrest in that fucking thing.
I think it's an option.
Is it?
But those cars don't. If you have you seen a headrest seat in those cars? You're like, it doesn't look right.
Yeah.
You need no headrest.
Oh,
You need the one hoop roll bar over just the driver
Should just
with
come with a
those
Hans
with those little
device.
buckets. Wear a Hans device. You gotta wear a
What
helmet
looks
you gotta wear a helmet when
headrest
you
or
drive
Hans
at all
device?
time.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I like that they're doing that though. That's like a new reimagining of the Cobra thing in like a cool way.
I like kit cars.
It's like a singer Cobra kind of deal
Yep.
almost, you know.
One of these days, guys, maybe we'll be making kit FDs and Supras and NSXs or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. On that note,
Yeah.
it's very late.
Yeah.
Super crazy late.
Yeah.
Sun's coming up
The
soon.
crickets are chirping us home. Guys, if you're still with us on this one, thank you very much for sticking with it. We are the Corded Tire Podcast. Peace out.